So far in this class, you guys have been working on graphing two-dimensional graphs where you use the X and the Y plane. Today you guys are going to learn about three-dimensional. So how you would graph things in 3D. So you would use the XY plane, but we're going to add a third dimension, which would be Z. So now we're going to have an X, Y, Z, and this is what it looks like. The flat coordinate plane, that's the one we're used to looking at. It's like a piece of paper that's laying on your desk. So here's your normal x-axis, here's your y-axis. Now your third dimension, Z, is coming almost straight up out of that piece of paper and going straight down towards the ground out of that piece of paper. What it would look like to graph a point would be this. So this point right here, out in space, normally we would have graphed it as x is 2, y is negative 2. But now we've added a third dimension, and this is going to come up off your paper, and that would be z is positive 2. So the coordinates for this would have been 2, negative 2, positive 2. Okay, so what does that look like algebraically? So algebraically, you guys should have this. This is what they would look like. So we're going to take a system and we're going to solve it. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is label each equation to help us keep track of our work. You can label it 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C. I'm going to go with A, B, and C. So this is A, this is B, this is C. And then what we're going to do is you're going to choose which variable you would like to eliminate. So I would study it for a second, see which one looks the easiest to you. I'm going to go with the x's because I like how these are already 2x. They're the same. So I'm going to eliminate x. You could choose any. It just changes your math a little bit. So choose two of the equations and use substitution combinations to eliminate the chosen variable and create a new two-variable equation. So I'm going to start with A and B. So A and B. So my equations are x plus 2y plus z equals 10 and 2x minus y plus 3z equals negative 5. So I want to get rid of x. To get rid of x, I'm going to use combinations, and I'm going to make this a negative 2. So to turn that into a negative 2, I'm going to multiply it by negative 2. But remember, once you multiply one thing, you multiply everything. So this is going to become, on top, negative 2x. Negative 2 times positive 2 is negative 4y. Negative 2 times z is negative 2z equals negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. I don't have to multiply anything on the bottom, so that's going to stay exactly the same. And now I'm going to combine these two to get, those are now gone. So those are gone. We've got negative 5y plus 1z is equal to negative 25. And we're going to leave that here. We created a new two-variable equation. Step 4 is we're going to repeat step 3, but we're going to pick a different combination of equations and eliminate the same variable. The step sometimes is not necessary, but in this problem it is. So I'm going to go up here. And last time I chose A and B. This time you could either choose A and C or B and C. I'm going to choose B and C because these are already exactly the same. So I'm going to choose B and C, which my B is 2x minus y plus 3z equals negative 5. And then I've got C, which is 2x minus 3y minus 5z equals 27. And so I need to get rid of one of the x's. I'm going to just make one of them negative so they add up to a 0. I'll do the bottom this time. So the top stays exactly the same. So we've got 2x minus y plus 3z equals negative 5. And the bottom one becomes negative 2x. Negative times a negative is a positive 3y. Negative times a negative is a positive 5z equals negative times a positive is negative 27. And now I'm going to combine these. And the reason why we do is these will cancel. So I've got negative y plus 3y is 2y. 3z plus 5z is 8z equals negative 5 and negative 27 makes negative 32. So now in step 5, we're going to make a new 2-variable system of equations with your answers from step 3 and 4. So here's my answer from step 3. Here's my answer from step 4. Just so that we could do that, here, I'll highlight them. Highlight it, highlight it. So this is going to be our highlighted answers. And solve for one of the variables. So I'm going to write both of those down. I've got negative 5y plus z equals negative 25. And I've got 2y plus 8z equals negative 32. You can choose whichever variable to get rid of. If you want to get rid of the y's, you would make them negative 10 and positive 10. If you want to get rid of the z's, you would only have to make the top a negative 8. So that's what I'm going to choose. I'm going to do this as a negative 8. And that is going to be, negative times a negative is going to be 40y minus 8z equals negative 8 times negative 25 is positive 200. The bottom I do not have to change. So I'm going to leave that as 2y plus 8z equals negative 32. And now I'm going to combine those. So I've got 42y. These are going to cancel, which is what we wanted, is equal to 168. And then I'm going to divide this by 42. Divide this by 42. And we know y is equal to 4. So we already have part of our answer. Okay, so we know our y, x, y, z, x, y, our y is 4. So we can plug that in. So now, step 6, we're going to use substitution to find the remaining variables. So I know y is equal to 4. So I can plug into one, I can actually plug into any of the highlighted ones. If I know y is negative 4, I can solve for z. If I know y is negative 4, I can solve for z. I'm actually going to use this one. So I picked the one that I like the best. So I've got negative 5. I know my y is going to be 4 plus z equals negative 25. So this is going to be negative 20 plus z equals negative 25. Add 20 to both sides. Now we know that z is equal to negative 5. So I can go up here and plug in negative 5. Real fast, I should write down what equation I'm using. I'm going to use, I should have left some room, use negative 5y plus z equals negative 25. So now what I'm going to do, now I know x, y, no, I don't know x, but I do know y and z. So now I'm going to choose one of these. I'm personally going to choose A because I can solve for x pretty easily. So I'm going to take 4 and plug it into y. And I'm going to take negative 5 and plug it into z. And then I'm going to solve for x. So on this one, I'm going to use x plus 2y plus z equals 10. So from what we know, we don't know x yet, but we know y is 4. And we know z is -5. And it's equal to 10. Okay, so this is x plus 8 minus 5 equals 10. I'm going to combine my like terms. 8 minus 5 is 3 equals 10. Subtract 3, my x is equal to 7. So I've got 7 as my answer. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second problem. So make sure you have that all written down. Pause it. This is not working. Come on. Go ahead and pause it. Copy it if you need to. Okay. Okay, so step 1 for this one. This is the back side of yours. Step 1 is to label these. A, B, C. Now, this is step 2. A really actually nice problem. Glue those. Add some extra notes if you need to. Add anything that helps you, any arrows, because these can get confusing. They can be long. Okay, there you go.